was on my shopping addict age, most of the things I bought were just subpar items that when I look at them now, I can't even use them again. And it begs the question, like, why did I even buy these things in the first place? So when you now multiply the money you spend, repeatedly buying the same thing over and over again, why don't you just buy original once and for all? And once I see that going out cannot fit into the money I have available, I don't stress myself about it, because it's not like I'm in a competition with anybody, right? So I sometimes find myself wondering, like, all these girls that are constantly, outside day and night, they are everyday Italawine, where do they really work? Hi guys, welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you 7 things I started doing in my 30s to save more money. So a little backstory. In 2018, I started my major job, which changed my life completely. I joined the finance industry, precisely one of the major organizations in Nigeria that regularizes the finance industry here in Nigeria. So I was earning enough to say, okay, I was very comfortable, life was good. Because this was my first major job, in the first 3 years of earning the type of money I had never thought of earning in my life, which now turned out to be like, my monthly salary. I wanted to buy everything I had always wanted. I shopped on all the online platforms you can think of. But it was not until after 3 years of, repeatedly engaging in this habit that I started questioning, like, what am I even doing with myself? Like, what are the things I'm spending my money on? At this point, it dawned on me that, my online shopping was becoming an addiction. And so I needed to do something about it, which, thank God, I did. So from 2021 up until 2024, another 3 years later, I started doing the 7 things I'm going to be sharing with you in this video now to save more money. And I can tell you that I've never been happier with myself. So let's just get into it. So the very first thing I started doing is budgeting, aka breaking down my salary before spending a dime out of it. In one of my previous videos, which I'll be linking down below, I talked about, having a breakdown of what I've spent my salary on, like on every month from the first month of 2021 up until this month of May 2024, when I'm filming this video now. Every month as my salary drops, I make sure to break it down using a method that takes care of all my recurring bills first, then emergency funds next, before I label the remaining one for my personal usage, which I always label as personal. By doing this, I know that the important things have been taken care of. Then I can now manage the rest for myself, without having to worry about my bills not being taken care of. But one of the important things I do is I add money for my monthly groceries on this my budget list, and this will be separate from my personal money, because groceries can easily eat into your money if you just allow them to be part of your own personal money. Also, if in a month, like, I have any family obligations to attend to, I add it to my budget as well. So if it can't fit into that my budget for the month, I move it to the next month, unless maybe during the month I get like an extra money that I can now use to attend to that obligation. But if not, I move it to the next month. Basically, all I'm saying is that I don't allow anything to tamper with my budget. If not, I'll just be thrown off course, and that I don't want to happen. So I maintain my budget. So second is joining a cooperative. So initially when I started working, some of my colleagues advised me to join the cooperative. They were talking about how all the good things that can happen with me joining the cooperative in my company, while some others still advised against it, each of them stating their own reasons for supporting or disagreeing me joining the cooperative. I was very new, fresh, I did not really know anything about it. But at the end of the day, the decision was for me to make, which I eventually decided, I now decided to join the organization. Thank God I made that decision now that I look back at it, because now almost 6 years later, I'm happy that I joined. Yearly, at the end of the year, like, I'm paid interest from my savings. When there's a Christmas sales, like being organized by the cooperative, I have the chance to participate. I buy the things I could normally not afford at that time, because Christmas comes with many billing and all that, and these things are usually at a cheaper rate. And to top it off, the money will just be deducted from my account, which is with them already, so I don't have to stress about spending money to get those things. Imagine if I had not joined this cooperative, all the opportunities would have been out of the window now, because I would have not been able to partake in them. Even with all this now, the last time I checked, I had saved up to 2 million naira just because I decided to bear with having small amounts deducted from my savings for over 6 years. So it might look small, but compounding, it will become big. So next is questioning myself before any purchase. So before now, I mindlessly bought everything I wanted without questions. But now I've changed. You will change by force. Before I buy anything that is not in my budget for the month, and if that thing is not, something that I know that I like to eat, maybe like food or snack, then questions must follow before that purchase will be made, especially things like clothes, gadgets, shoes. I ask myself, like, do I really need this thing? Do I honestly need this stuff? Or do I just want to buy it because I saw it online and peer pressure is making me consider buying it? This question is very valid, because this happened with me, with buying the Stanley Cup. Even though the cup is useful to a very good extent now, but when I really look at it, I bought that cup because of peer pressure. I'm not going to lie to myself. That is what happened with that. But asking myself this question now has become very valid for me, especially because I used to be a chronic online shopper, right? Someone that was without direction when she was shopping. Because I wanted that thing, not really minding about the money, I buy it. I bought anything I wanted without really considering if I will end up abandoning that thing. And this happened at the early phase of this my shopping addiction. So as far I have the experience with buying things I end up not using because I end up abandoning them, now I ask myself serious questions before any purchase, especially ones that require a lot of money. Notably anything dollar denominated. We all understand the Nigerian landscape now, like naira to dollar right now is a mess. So anything that has to do with dollar, I ask myself severe questions before I even make that purchase. So the next one is buying a coffee machine. Yes, for some they might question this, my decision, but this was the best decision I made in 2022 because, for me who loves to drink coffee a lot, I drink it at least once a day. Based on my calculation, if I did not buy that coffee machine then, I would have had to spend at least 50,000 naira monthly, excluding weekends, which I would still have to, make coffee or drink coffee. If I were to be buying coffee every day in my office at the current rate of 2,000 naira per cup for like, a cup of caramel macchiato, which is even cheaper than, when you buy it outside. At the time I bought this coffee machine, I had spent only 100,000 naira for the Breville Barista Max, which I now enjoy using every day, every time. If I were to be buying that machine at this time, with this current dollar rates in my country, it would have been triple the price now. But this purchase is one that I'm very grateful I made, because I would have needed it either way and would have still had to be spending, at least 50,000 naira monthly, or still needed to buy the machine right now, and which is currently more than 350,000 naira for the machine, because of the ridiculous dollar to naira exchange rate that we are all suffering from now. So this is one purchase that really helped me to save a lot of money. If you are to calculate it, you understand where I'm coming from. Unless you're not a coffee lover, you might not really get what I'm trying to say here. But buying a coffee machine really saved me a lot from spending ridiculous amounts of money buying coffee outside. So next is buying things original once and for all. This is a serious mistake most people make every single day. One mistake I made initially as well, I had to learn the hard way. We think that before we can start making enough money to afford buying original things, the fake we do, it will make me feel better about myself. But that is really false, because people can smell fake items from miles away. If you are wearing a fake item, people will know, and you will not feel comfortable with the stains you will get. So instead of buying things that will only end up not lasting long enough, because you will now end up having to buy another one of that fake, buy an original once and for all, because that is something I decided to start doing, and it has saved me a lot of money. This ties back to my third point on questioning everything I buy now. When I was on my shopping addict age, most of the things I bought were just subpar items which when I look at them now, I can't even use them again. And it begs the question, like, why did I even buy these things in the first place? At that point when I was buying it, it was looking all good and fine, it felt like, okay, I can use this. And I did not know that I was not doing myself any good, because before I will use it 1 or 2 times, these items go bad, I will not have to end up buying another one again. So when you now multiply the money you spend, repeatedly buying the same thing over and over again, why don't you just buy original once and for all? And that is something I've started doing to help me save more money. So the 6th one is going out only once a month. You see, for this one, I sometimes can't even make it after calculating everything I need to spend money on at the end of the month. And once I see that going out cannot fit into the money I have available, I don't stress myself about it because it's not like I'm in a competition with anybody, right? So I sometimes find myself wondering, like, all these girls that are constantly, outside day and night, they are everyday talawine, where do they really work? Because even as I say I'm a high earner, quote unquote, based on Nigerian standard, I still can't afford the lifestyle that I see every day on social media. And these people make it seem like it is something that is easily accessible, or is it just that I'm not interested in being outside, so I don't really make it a priority? That is why I'm not always outside. But to be honest, going outside every day would deplete my salary, that I can't even end up calling myself a high earner, because these things, they don't come cheap. Like, you going out to a restaurant for just outing, in a single sitting you would have spent 50,000 naira. Just minus that, like, going out, let's say 4 times, 5 times in a month. That is a lot of money. So I don't really know what is happening. So the last one is reinvesting interest for my savings after taking a portion for myself. Yes, to be honest, this has been my saving grace. Even when I say I earn high, based on Nigerian standards, there are so many times when my income is not enough to even get me by. Just like I talked about earlier about going out every time. This is where I now thank God that I took the initiative to invest in things like NTB, cooperative, and in a business, because these investments now bring me extra income at different points in the year, which acts as buffer to my monthly salary. But this does not mean that whatever I get, I finish it all at once, because I've talked about this several times on this channel. To make more money, you have to reinvest your interest. But before I reinvest my interest from these investments, I make sure to remove a portion for myself, so that I don't feel like I'm just only investing. So say I make like 300,000 from an investment, I can decide to divide it into 3. So one part of it will be my personal one that I can use to spend on whatever I want. The second one I'll put back into a high interest savings platforms like PiggyVest and other ones out there. Then the last portion, I now divide it again into 2 parts. So one part I spend on buying stocks, either Nigerian or foreign stocks, and the other half I now put into my travel plans, like I'm currently doing for my plans for a trip to Japan later this year. So these are the 7 things I've been doing to save more money for my future self while enjoying my present. So let me know if you agree with this, or if it resonates with how you are living your life currently as well. Or then again, let me know if you plan on doing these things, or if you even disagree with any of the things I've talked about. I would love to hear from you in the comments. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And if you liked this video, I have another video you might enjoy on how I organize my life in 3 easy steps while living in my 30s. I'll link it up there somewhere. See you there. Bye guys.